All right, hey everybody. We are live once again. This is, of course, Glenn Haussman. I'm with my co-host Anthony Melchiorri today, and we have Jan Freitag on the line from STR today. All right, I want you guys all out there to ask any questions that you might have. We're going to try our best to deal with it. We only have about 30 minutes. As you can imagine, Jan is extremely busy today, dealing with a whole lot of issues, trying to help create some sort of clarity. Anthony, great to see you. Jan, good to see you too. I wish this was under better circumstances. Guys, I mean, is it too much to think that like this is our like World War II, World War III kind of a scenario that's going on over here? I like that face. Maybe I'm being too serious here, right? Jan?
I don't think so. Jan, I'll let you first.
So we are at the beginning of what is going to be a string of very poor weekly results.
Right.
Week ending March 7th, U.S. RevPAR decline 11.6%. We expect that double-digit RevPAR decline going forward, for the next foreseeable future, for the foreseeable weeks. So, yeah, it's going to get bad. Are we going to see like in China, where the occupancy evaporated, occupancy down 90% over 2 weeks, down to a single digit for the country? Too early to tell. But social distancing is key to not halt the pandemic, but at least slow the spread.
Right.
And that, of course, means that airports, hotel lobbies are no-go places. And that then implies people are going to stay home.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing hotels filling up with people from government, people that must travel. So in some areas, some emergency workers. So again, single digits in China, area, but in the near future.
Hey, Anthony, we're having trouble hearing you. Maybe you get a little bit closer. There also seems to be a little bit of background noise, but I think you're making some extremely good points over there.
Can you hear me now, my friend?
Yeah, it's a little bit better, but not amazing. Try one more time.
Okay, so basically, what I'm saying is I agree with what he's saying. I don't know if we're going to get into single digits, but we have to hold on. We all have to keep our heads about us, and we've all got to take care of the people around us. We have to be kind to each other. But to worry that it's going to get bad, it's going to get bad tomorrow. Yes, it's going to get bad. Put that in our head, then we need to be able to be around. We want to take care of it, be in our personal life. I think, have to set our mindset the right way in order to get through this.
Jan?
Yeah, it's going to get bad. The good news is that we are in a cyclical industry.
Right.
We know there's always a rebound. We look at our data, it's very clear.
Right.
The recession of 1991, the recession of 9/11, the recession of 2009, there was always a rebound. Post 9/11, we thought we wouldn't fly a plane again. That was wrong. Post 2009, we thought there wouldn't be a mortgage industry. That was wrong. What I like to say, the inalienable right of the American consumer for life, liberty, and the pursuit of travel will not be infringed. Americans just love to travel. The American consumer loves to be on the road, especially if you're being sequestered at home for, 30 days, 60 days, whatever. At the other side of that is the huge pent-up travel demand of seeing, man, I got to get out.
Right. Okay.
When it's going to happen.
With the major corporations right now, what emergency plans are they putting in place? Do you think that there's any chance of bigger brands or maybe the medium-sized brand surviving?
It's too early to tell. This is a question about your debt stack. Can you handle having no revenues and fixed costs for a month or two? That's the question.
Right. Yeah, and I think that really is the big issue about how long this is going to last and how companies are positioned. I'm getting questions already, Jan, and I know you're the right guy to deal with this. Mike Hines, Mike, how does Vegas closing down affect the rest of the industry, and do we follow? I mean, what have you wrapped your head around this question at all?
No, not yet. I think it's going to be interesting to see if hotels are going to say, look, we just don't have anybody who's staying with us. We need to actually close shop. We're obviously tracking this very closely. We saw it in China, 2,800 hotels closed. I talked to Christine, who runs the Beijing office this morning, and she said that number has actually now changed. 80 to 90% of those properties are open again. So this is, if it's happening, a temporary thing.
Right, absolutely. But as we are in the middle of it, really, honestly, just the beginning of that, there seems to be so much lack of confidence, frightfulness, not really understanding what's going on. And with any other downturn or black swan event, it's different than from anything else we've ever seen. And this one feels like a doozy. But I love, Jan, that you're saying there'll be pent up demand, that people are still going to want to travel. And as dark as I feel right now about where things are, it's really important to hear such positive messages like that. I love my family to bits, but we've only been together for 3 days. I can't imagine how much I'm going to want to travel after 30 days are there, right? Guys, you want to say something?
So, to Jan's point, the more we separate, and even you, Glenn, I said, Glenn, do you want to get together for this morning? And you said, no, we have to separate and set the standard, and I agree with you. The quicker we social separate, the quicker we get the coronavirus and our medical, get everything out of our medical assistance way.
Right.
The better. So the quicker we get this under control, the quicker the economy and the quicker the hotels open. So what you can do for the future of travel,
right,
is to stay in your house. And if you know someone that has it, self-quarantine yourself. And that way the professionals can do their job and we can get this economy back on track.
Right. Yeah. Jan, I'd like, I watched your presentation this morning, and for those of you who stay up to the minute with all of the numbers that are happening, be sure you connect with the good folks over at STR. I watched a great program that you did this morning about the reality of what's happening from the numbers point of view. I like the approach that, you aren't adding any emotion to it. It's just fact after fact. I'm sure you're going to be continuing to deliver those things throughout the coming weeks, but maybe give us a quick highlight that you're seeing, or low lights that you're seeing out there in terms of the numbers and the different areas and some of the expectations we have. And then I've got some amazing questions that we can work out together. But I think it's important, since we have you on here, to hear what you're seeing and what the data is explaining to us.
RevPAR last week for the US declined 11.6%. The decline was visible across all classes, across all chain scales, across all location types.
Right.
Urban hotels, higher end hotels, luxury and upper upscale hotels were hit harder, because obviously we're now tracking 250 events that were canceled or postponed globally. Properties with meeting space get hit harder right now. And everybody's hurting. It's just that the upper end is hurting just a little bit more. We looked at class data specifically for Seattle, San Francisco, New York. San Francisco is just, the pain is everywhere. The upper upscale, so the class data is, we saw, RevPAR declines in the 40-50% for last week across all classes. New York City, the declines are still a little bit more manageable, the 10 to 20% range. But I fully expect that that's going to continue to be negative going forward as well.
Right, because I feel, Jan, what you're seeing is just the beginning of this, right? We only have numbers on when people first started to understand what was happening. The first company started to cancel events, but since then, things have changed. So what is your gut telling you about what we're in store for here in the next couple of weeks to a month with some of these areas? And of course, I know everybody out there, we're talking generalizations, but if you do have any specifics, that'd be helpful too.
So actually, between the webinar this morning and the webinar this afternoon I just got off, I actually made another slide. A colleague, a friend of mine from CBRE said, hey, I have an idea about a visualization. Can you get this done? And so you can overlay the occupancy decline, absolute level of occupancy. When you look at China versus Italy versus US, it looks from our data that the China is 6 weeks ahead of us.
Right.
Where we are today, China was 6 weeks ago, and then it just deteriorated rapidly. Now, I don't know if we're going to see 90% occupancy decline down to single digits for the nation. I have no idea, but it seems eerie how much the Italy data set and the China data set mirror each other. Now, those are both countries that basically just put that country on lockdown. I don't know if we're going to go there, but obviously social distancing, either imposed by the government or self-imposed, is the key, to what people call flatten the curve and make sure that we can at least not accelerate the spread.
Right. And I want to apologize to you guys if it looks like I'm looking off. I'm trying to monitor the conversation that's going on here as well as follow the conversation. Anthony, you want to take it away?
What are you hearing about domestic travel? What's the recent on them potentially preventing people from traveling domestically? What's the latest?
Well, there was a rumor from the White House last week. I haven't heard that or seen that. I know as much about that as you do. I know that the American Hotel Lodging Association is working feverishly and very, very hard with the administration, to figure out what the impact is, what the impact could be, and how, hoteliers can be helped. I assume that, I think America is different from a sort of culture than, the European countries, and I think it would be very hard to prescribe no travel. But I think common sense is just, people aren't traveling because they don't want to be near other people. Right.
Now the country understands how I feel every single day, which is nice. All right, guys, just trying to make a couple of jokes over here, but what about this notion? Somebody asked about it, and I've been thinking about this as well, Jan. We saw in California, they were saying it's possible they may take over some hotels for quarantines or medical or whatever it is. What's your perception on that particular issue? Because at first blush, it seems to me, hey, great, at least these hotels will get some money.
Yeah, I mean, again, early days, we don't know. The question to the second part of the question then is what happens to the hotel after the fact?
Right.
How deep can you clean it? And if there ever is a person who wants to sell the property, is that going to be a ding, to it? But yeah, I think if we need the beds, that's what we provide. Individual rooms with individual beds and bathrooms. We're ready to do that as an industry.
Right, Anthony?
And I don't think it's a matter of if, it's a matter of, and I think you're going to see that throughout the country, maybe on a basis, but I think you're going to be able to, I think you're going to see that. And Jan, I appreciate you covering your mouth, even though we're just on the microphone, and turning away from the microphone. You never know.
Yeah.
But I think it's not a matter of one.
Right. I want everybody to know that Anthony promised me he would be wearing like a sweatshirt and be unshaven in this conversation. So I think he did that just to lure me into a sense of comfort. But now you guys are all looking all dressed up, and I look like hell. But I guess that's just the way it's going to be. Now, Catherine Button, yeah, go on.
What's important, we're talking hotels, we're talking metrics, we're talking where it's going, and the bowling ball we're seeing is falling off the table. I think mindset is really important. I think we talk about personal branding and we talk about mindset. The people around us, when we're running hotels, whether we're the owner, we're the manager, or we're the consultant, I think the way we show up in our mindset and the words we use, words that trigger other people's emotion, we've got to be really careful right now. When, being in the military, when you were in really stressful times, the leaders stood their ground and they spoke with positive words. No one has a crystal ball, and no one was saying things that aren't true. They were being realistic. So you can say realistic things in a calm way and calm people. So remember, those housekeepers, those bellmen, those line employees that are living check to check, they're scared, as we all are a little bit scared. However, the way you show up to your hotel, if you're a manager, I don't care if you're a supervisor, if you're a front desk clerk, I don't care if you're the owner, the way we show up today to comfort our employees as well as our guests is critical. People are going to remember it.
If I can add to that, I used in my webinar this morning and this afternoon this line from Good to Great that Jim Collins coined the Stockdale Paradox, from Admiral Jim Stockdale, Vietnam prisoner of war, who said, "You must never confuse."
Vice presidential running mate for Ross Perot back in 1992. I don't know why I remember that, but I felt I needed to show off my knowledge. Sorry, Jan.
That you must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with a discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they may be. And I think we are in the most brutal facts of current reality space, but we can't afford to lose faith.
Right. And yeah, we definitely need to all come together here. Now, guys out there, you're asking a lot of great questions, but some of these questions may not actually be right for Jan today. But throughout this week and in the coming weeks, we're going to be speaking to a lot of the industry professionals that you need to hear about. We're working behind the scenes to get on a show with a designer, procurement pro, and a supplier. For example, we're going to have Chip Rogers on from the AHLA later this week. I'm looking to get, we're going to have Chris Green, who's CEO of Chesapeake Hospitality, on to talk about things from his point of view. So we will have all of these folks with us to help with the questions. But Jan, somebody here is asking a question that you can most definitely speak more to. Catherine Button of our Cartera Hotel Advisors wants to know, what are your expectations as they vary between the different regions in the United States? Great question, because people are acting differently throughout the country. And I have a feeling that behavior is affecting things differently in different markets until, of course, there's a giant lockdown.
Right. So the two things to keep in mind here is it's not so much a regional question, it's large markets versus small markets. So top 25 markets, no matter where they are, sort of behave the same. And secondary, tertiary markets, no matter where they are, sort of behave the same. So
interesting.
I'm sorry?
I just said interesting. Please continue.
The larger meeting markets will get hit very, very severely. And that's not going to change for the foreseeable future as meetings get either postponed or canceled. The problem with a lot of the meetings is that we're in Q1, and a lot of them were sales kickoff meetings. You know, people are like, hey, rah, rah, the troops for the rest of the year. That meeting is not going to happen in August. That meeting is done.
Right.
You know, the other meetings that you can hopefully, you know, push back.
Right.
The other piece to that is, you know, because the federal response seems to be a little disjointed. A lot of governors have stepped up, you know, and said, for my state, what's right is this, you know. And so, yeah, can there be a difference in regional response? Absolutely, because the lawmakers and the governors in the specific states have a different take on what to do. Yes.
Right. Anthony?
From my perspective, you know, our company, Hospitality Success, we've already seen 4 clients either thinking about closing their hotel or thinking about, unfortunately, they're going to have financial problems and they're going to have to either be foreclosed on or they're going to walk away. Now, with that said, I think there's going to be a program in place very shortly to stay some of those bankruptcies, taking over some of those hotels. Jan, do you have any perspective on that?
Well, the interesting thing in 2009 was this, you know, you probably remember this term, extend and pretend.
Yes. I remember that.
Couldn't make their debt service, that the bank said, look, you want the hotel, but we don't want the hotel. And so let's just, you know, hold our nose and, you know, pretend that eventually it's all going to get better, which it did, you know. And if you're not cash flow positive today, okay, let's talk about it. Maybe we can work something out. So that could be that could be one venue, one way of this to go. The other side of this is, though, there's so much money out there. You know, what we saw this around. Yes, of course, it's down maybe 20% or so, but that means for the private equity funds that they still have a ton of money to deploy. You know, and they may be ready to step in and buy bad debt or put bad debt, and then say, let's take over the property and see what we can do.
Right.
And I think that's the long term, absolutely. And I think the short term, people listening to this that are in that situation, I think extend and pretend, I think, is exactly what you're going to see in the foreseeable future. Because, like you said, they don't want to be hoteliers. The banks don't want to run hotels.
Right. I think that's exactly right and right on target. People, Anthony, keep saying that they're having a hard time hearing you over there. So if you could somehow get a little bit closer, that'd be awesome. So, you know, again, I'm getting a lot of questions on stuff that's not necessarily numbers related out there, but Jan, how do you know all the folks at the major hotel brands, right? Just like I do. What do you think they're thinking right now? How do you think they're going to respond? What position do you think they should take to help see us all through here?
Well, I think luckily an industry, you know, where once you get the bug, so to speak, that's a bad analogy, but once you stay in the industry, you stay in the industry. So a lot of people with a lot of tenure, you know. We've been through 9/11, we've been to 2008, and they know exactly, what to do, where to cut costs, and maybe cut, a little bit closer than what your normal cost-cutting measures are. So the idea here is that for the major brands to communicate with the ownership groups and say, okay, look, if your if your property cash flow is in peril,
Right.
what can we do to help? And I think these conversations are ongoing as we speak.
Right. Okay. Anthony vanished. Let me bring him right back in. Hey there, Anthony. Welcome back. How are you doing?
Is that better?
Yeah, it's much better.
Okay. So I figured I'd help you out and just change my device. So sorry about that.
Nope, it's all good. Jan, what do you think we could all do in the short term, maybe to protect occupancy, or maybe there's nothing we can do? It's important to me, maybe for you to be the calming voice out there to tell people, be responsible. Don't just drop your rates. You're not going to create demand right now, or maybe you completely disagree.
Yeah, I can't comment. I mean, we don't make, comments about forward-looking rates or
How about this? Looking at the past, again, during the Great Recession or after 9/11, a lot of companies reacted from a place of fear and they dropped their rates. That created a situation where it was a lot more difficult to get those rates back up over time. Could you speak a little bit more to that and show what maybe you saw historically based on the data in the past that we could learn from to make our own decisions going forward in the future? Is that a better way of saying it to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our data is very, very clear.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes roughly twice the amount of time for room rates to recover after you cut them.
Okay.
So post 9/11, if you look at the national data,
mm-hmm.
it took 12 months from peak to trough,
mm-hmm.
from the high ADR that we saw pre 9/11 to then a year into it when it was the bottom. It took 24 months for that rate to get back to the 9/11 level. Turns out you're like, okay, that's just one data point. Is that really true? Well, 2009 was exactly the same pattern. It took 17 months to go from peak to trough, and then 36 months from trough to peak. So very much 2x the amount. It's not, but the point is, it's not a V-shaped recovery. The ADR you cut today, you're not going to get back tomorrow. It's an elongated U. It takes you twice as long to get back. As an industry, your mileage may vary, of course.
Right. All right. So Anthony, he gave us the numbers. You give us the speech on what hotel you should be doing.
The horse left the barn. Okay. The rates have dropped. I saw it immediately. I tracked it literally at midnight about a week ago when things started going crooked. I have a screenshot of the rates before and after within 24 hours in New York City. You saw rates from $69 to $149 for the 4 stars and 3 stars. And then you saw the 5 stars maintaining from $599 to $100 to $1,000. I haven't looked at it recently, but that horse left the stable. And I think what you have to do is individually look at it. And I was just talking to a client just about an hour or two ago, and they have an extended stay product, and they're working with the extended stay in their hotel to try to, yes, discount for next month, but not to the point where it doesn't make sense for them. So everyone's got to individually survive. And, I always say this is a revenue-driven business. This is an expense-driven business. Restaurants, yes. Bars, yes. But the hotel, big hotels, medium-sized hotels, it's a revenue-driven business. But right now, we're going to be in an expense-driven business because there's not going to be a lot of revenue. So I think as far as rates go, you can try to hold it in your area. But, the people that are going to travel, unless you have a brand that's really, really strong that they want to be in, you're going to have to basically meet what's in the demand in the market. So I just hope people just don't drop it like they did in New York immediately, but I think that's what you're going to see.
The other thing to remember is that if Business Travel News has the top 100 companies by sorted by travel expense, 40% of those last week, and that number probably has changed, had travel restrictions on them. If you work for Nike or Boeing or Deloitte or Bain or whatever, and they say you may not travel, the room rate you offer them could be $1. And they're like, I can't travel. I'm not allowed to travel. So that's not going to entice any demand. So just keep that in mind. Like, who are you targeting if you're opening up low-rated channels? And is that person, is that company even willing to?
Right. And Jan is not providing any advice on what you guys should do with your pricing. He's just sharing the reality of what's going on around pricing. Jan, I know you're going to have a hard out here in a couple of minutes. People really want to know how they could be in touch with you guys. How could they be following what you're doing out there? How can we be aware of when your webinars are going to be happening and how you're going to be keeping us up to date during this time?
So str.com is always the landing page for all your data needs, and we have put on there a COVID-19 landing page. We will conduct weekly webinars every Thursday, starting this week, to talk about the weekly data as it comes out on Wednesdays. That we prepare on Wednesday, obviously for our client. I need a couple of days, a couple of hours to figure out the slides. It's not going to be super long, but at least it's hopefully going to give you some perspective on where you are. Where you are. And then we show you the national data. So that's on Thursdays. And then in addition, we're just going to continue to publish and continue to show, white papers and what have you. And also, obviously, keep track of our sister page, Hotel News Now, where they have a lot of reporters in the field talking to hotel operators about perspective.
Right. Great. Anthony?
Yeah, I think I agree with everything that was said today. You have to be transparent with your clients. So it's not about dropping rate. It's about being transparent. What are you doing to keep your client that has to travel safe? How are you cleaning? What products are you using? How are you keeping your employees safe? I think the more transparent hotels are and the more things that you're doing, and they don't have to be overt. It could be something very quiet, like just putting a little Purell bottle in the corner of a front desk. It could be having in every room what you did to clean that room to make sure they're safe, because the people that are traveling right now basically have to travel. Very few people after today are going to be traveling because they're getting a good deal. So be transparent with that person that has to travel, and they'll feel better. They'll feel more comfortable. They're going to be away from home and they're going to be away from their family. Be transparent. Don't hide under a rock. Tell them what you're doing to keep them safe.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I have been reaching out to a lot of the CEOs and executives, some of the major hotel companies, asking them to please come on and talk to me and take a leadership position here and show how awesome you are going to be. So if any of you are out there listening or watching this, reach out to me, Glenn at rouse.media. Come talk to Anthony and me. Come share your story. We are all in this together. We are here to help you get out your messaging. Jan, any final thoughts? And then I think maybe we'll let you go. And Anthony, we could talk for a few more minutes after Jan departs. Any final thoughts, Jan?
I know this is rough, and I can only tell you it's probably going to get worse, but there will be a recovery. I don't know when, but the American U.S. hotel industry is very, very, very resilient.
Yes, absolutely. We are resilient. We all love to travel. We are Americans, and we've been through much worse. And somehow, some way, I don't know what that way is yet, but we are going to get through this together. Jan, thanks so much for being here, and I hope that you can make time with us in the future to share some more updates.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jan. See you soon.
Thank you.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, that was something. I mean, it's really great to hear from somebody like that. But Anthony, the reason why I wanted to keep you on here for a couple more minutes is because I'm getting questions that I think are more in your wheelhouse, right? Things that you could really share with our audience here. One is like really any suggestions for hotels worried about 2021 negotiated contracts, because the RFPs, he says, are going to start in, or she, Amy White, brand revenue manager of the Hampton, is talking about that coming this June. What can she do?
I'm a strong believer in relationships. I'm a strong believer in taking care of people and being nice to people. So hopefully in the market that we've seen for the last 10 years, when you were negotiating fair contracts and you weren't taking advantage of people, and you built relationships. Real salespeople, real leaders built real relationships, and they took a hit a little bit to make sure that that company stayed. So when things do get tough, that person will remember them. So it's relationship driven. So there are going to be some pushing and pulling, and it's not about always doing everything perfectly. It's about how you recover. So if you handled your stuff right in the last few years, when you were sitting on Easy Street, now that you need help, the people that have the big companies and have the responsibility for pushing whatever little business they're pushing, they're going to push it to you if you had a great relationship with them. But right now, it's really not about thinking about your price structure or what prices that you can offer. It's about, did I do the right thing by that person? Do I have a good relationship with that company? And if you don't, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a very slippery slope to climb, because right now they don't have time for coffee and they don't have time for your niceness and blowing smoke up their butt. If you were there for them, they'll pull you up. If you weren't, you've got to rethink the way you do business.
Right.
Does that make sense, Glenn?
No, it makes complete sense to me. And, something that we've talked about before, Anthony, and our checking in with Anthony and Glenn series, which you guys, of course, could get on iTunes over there. But yeah, I mean, it's all about having that give take type of relationships. And those folks that haven't invested that time to build those great relationships are the ones that are going to be paying for the price in 2021 as well. Interestingly enough, our good friend Mike Hines, who's the chairman, principal, and founder of HB Hotels, is seeing a lot of petitions from hoteliers out there about the franchisors cutting franchisee fees for 30 days or so. How do you process something like that? Because everybody is suffering, and what do you do?
I think you go into your emergency plan and you know what's in your bank, you know what's in what cash flow you have, how long you can survive, and whether it be management companies or brands, they have to make these hard decisions, and hopefully they're strong enough financially to do things like that. Now, in 2008, when we had the downturn, there wasn't a lot of cash. There was a lot of funny money.
Right.
There's a lot of companies, whether it be management companies or brands, that have some money, have some cash. So if you can make those decisions, now's the time. If you can be a hero, okay, and worry about it later. If you can't afford to be a hero, explain to your team, explain to your hotels,
Right.
this is the situation you're in. Transparency and honesty is key. People are nervous. People are scared. If you start blowing smoke and you start pulling people on a leash, they're not going to follow you. You need to be transparent,
Right.
and you need to, like I said, there's times when, my wife asked me early in my career, is this something you have to do? Is this hero stuff? And sometimes it was things I had to do, and sometimes it was hero stuff.
Right.
And I was like, so if you have to do hero stuff right now and you have to take it in the shorts a little bit to make sure somebody else live for another day, that's what you got to do. And so people will see through it. People will remember it. So hopefully the bigger companies will do the right thing.
Yeah, I hope so too, and I hope the government is able to step up and do the right thing for people. I just saw the airlines are asking for $50 billion in bailout money, and that's something I'll be talking, or will be talking, with Chip Rogers about later this week, President and CEO of the AHLA, when we get him on. I want everybody to know that we're keeping things fluid out there, because I don't know exactly when people are going to be available and how much time they're going to have, but we're going to be doing our best to bring you as much live coverage as we can to see us all through this crisis going forward. So, Anthony, one thing that I think that people should think about is when they're making decisions, think twice about those decisions. Not because you are wrong about your decision, but I think there's a lot of fog that's happening with each one of us. We're all off of our game right now. We could probably use a little bit of a double gut check before we pull the trigger on any decisions, to make sure we're not being reactionary, but really thinking it through logically.
Yeah, a company, I won't name who and what, but someone just made a knee-jerk reaction and literally sent an email instead of having a conference call,
Right,
to disseminate some pretty intense information.
right,
And listen, again, coming up through the military, I saw very stressful times. And some people handle it, some people didn't handle it. I don't think that there's any way around it. And one of the things, before we get on this call,
mhm,
I said, hopefully no one's making predictions, and hopefully no one's going to tell what the future is going to look like. And Jan didn't do that, and I'm not doing that. It's about keeping a level head about you. I think if you know your family's okay, and you're hopefully healthy, then you can start making really good decisions. If your life is in a panic and you're panic about yourself and your family and your resources are diminished, you're going to have everybody around you in your business feeling that. So I think we have to take care of ourselves first, and then make sure that our businesses and the people around us are taken care of. What other
right.
questions we have out there, Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, mostly people now are just saying what a good point you're making in terms of relationship building, and that's the type of stuff that we should be doing. And I think we're
But now
pretty.
is not the time to build those relationships. The time to build that relationship was when
Yep.
when everything was great and everything was wonderful. When you called somebody out of nowhere and say, "Hey, I want to buy you coffee," and they say, "Why?" I don't know. I just want to say hi.
Right.
That's real. That's real salesmanship. And there's some salespeople that I know that are fantastic at that. And then there's some salespeople that aren't, and they're going to suffer.
Right. Yeah. And also, what are you doing now? Are you checking with your long-term customers, your loyal customers, the people that have helped you over the years to make sure that they're okay with no ulterior motive whatsoever? Just see how they're doing. See how you can be of service to them. We're all in this hospitality industry. We're all here to help other people. See what you could be doing in that term as well. Anthony?
Well, it's our job, right? It's our job to make sure people are taken care of and comfortable. With that said, yes, when you call someone, again, hopefully the heavy lifting was done last year. You know, it's if you're trying to do that heavy lifting now, unless you have something to provide to people right now, it could be just a hey, how you doing, or it could be like, hey, we're going to do this for you, we're going to do that for you. People don't want you wasting their time right now.
Right.
So if you call them up, make sure you have something
Yeah.
for them. And if you think they just need a virtual hug, then that's good enough.
Right. And I got to be honest with you. I'm getting sick and tired with every single company I've ever done business with since the internet was created, sending me a note hearing about what they're doing with their employees in regards to COVID-19 and how they're still here to help me. I get it. But that's the kind of communication that really isn't moving the bar forward, and it's just going to get lost in the din of what's going on right now.
I just hit somebody up a text message that is one of the big leaders in our industry, and you know who it is because I told you privately. And that person, I texted them, and they immediately texted me back. And the first thing she said was, "Wow, thank you for thinking of me."
Yep.
And as soon as I knew that person responded, I immediately called that person. And it seemed like they were in a restaurant. I just say, "Hey, man, virtual hug. I love you. Anything I can do for you, I'm here. Go enjoy your dinner. Goodbye." That was a couple nights ago.
Right.
Again, very big person in position, the leader in our industry. Didn't think that person would even return my phone call. But even the most powerful people in our industry sometimes need a virtual hug.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I wish we were still allowed for real hugs, but apparently we're not allowed to do that for the next
I'll give you a
6 to 8
virtual. I'll
weeks.
give you a virtual kiss.
Thank you so much. I want to end the show today with some really good news that I heard about a good friend of mine. All of you out there know Jim Alderman. He's just been named CEO of Radisson Hotel Group's America. Wow. Congratulations, Jim. What a freaking amazing accomplishment that you have done in your life. And that gives me the biggest smile I've had in the last week since all this stuff went down.
And what a great day to be named in that position.
Hey, man, with the world falling apart around you, at least you can't F things up too bad, and you're going to look like a hero. Jim, you're going to do amazing. Even though this is going to be the most monumental challenge of your life, I know you can do it.
You know, and again, one more time, that's great news. One of the things that you have to understand, if you're a young manager right now, if you're a father, if you're a mother, if you're a babysitter, people feel your energy. People hang on to your words. Words matter right now. The way you show up matters. Okay. So if you're a leader in a position, if you need to close the door and cry and bang your head against the door, do it in private and then talk to somebody that's close to you. But make sure that people around you know you're made of steel and that you're going to be okay. And then get the help you need through family and friends or therapy or whatever you need. But if you're in a position of leadership, you're there for moments like this. Anybody can do it the last 10 years. We all can do it the last 10 years. Now is the time where you're going to be tested. And, you know, it's time to show up. And so that's my advice to everyone else. Listen, I'm going to call you, Glenn. I'm going to need your support and you're going to need my support. So we're not made of stone, but we need to make sure that the people that depend on us can depend on us.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. And I think that is such an important lesson to take. And remember, everybody, we are all in this together. And right now, at this very moment of time, we need to be a community and care for each other. Anthony and I are going to be here to do whatever we can. We want to be the center of our community. We want to be the middle of helping us all exchange ideas to bring us to the other side of this, to be able to be successful. And no matter what is in store for us, as long as we care about each other and look out for each other, there will be a way. Anthony, any final thoughts?
You know what? Just everybody out there that we know and we love, we're here. We'll do the best we can. We have some access to people and to resources. So if you want to DM us and see how we can help you, we're here. And the companies that I work with, they know I'm here for them. If I can reach out or do anything I can, you know, it's the first day I would say in maybe my career, definitely the first day that I woke up this morning and everything got canceled.
Yep.
There's not a day, 7 days a week that I don't have a call or I don't have someplace to go or, and today I had to set myself up last night and say, when you wake up tomorrow, you know, there's a lot going on. You got to really take one step at a time. So the thing I did was I asked my daughter, you want to go on the beach? She goes, yeah. So we took a walk on the beach for a nice half hour. It was nice and brisk out. It was nice and cold out. And I needed that reset. And I was like, wow, I ain't going anywhere.
Right.
So me and Glenn are here. And, you know, Glenn, you've done an amazing job. You know, I always say people know who I am, but really everybody in the industry knows who you are. And so between both of us, the people that travel and the people that create travel, we are tied to both those sides of the business. So please use us. Please depend on us. We will bring you great content, and hopefully I'll have better sound for you next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony, thank you so much for being here. And I want to thank all of you out there for being with us here today. Again, I'm going to try to give everybody as much notice as I can for our LinkedIn lives throughout the week, this week, next week, and on an ongoing basis. We're kind of throwing all of our formulas out the window because it's important for us to be here real time for you with the news that you need to hear.
You know what, Glenn? I want to throw something out there, and this isn't a plug, but this is important. Right now, what we're doing is video content. What we're doing is we're trying to get the word out there. Nobody can leave. So how you use this content, and you've done it better than anybody I've met. You know, there's a young lady we work with, both of us, for both of our business, Tamara Thompson, who owns a company called
Serious Take Productions.
Thank you, sir. Serious Take Productions. And she is a person that you really reach out to help you really broadcast your authority and really keep your employees and keep your guests and keep your hotel alive. And she knows how to do that. We both depend on her to help us. So you've seen my content get better, and it's because of this young lady. So that's not a plug. I'm just telling you right now, the number one thing that you need is you need to let people know what's going on in your world. And so reach out to Mara Thompson. You can look at her website probably right below our link as soon as we post this. And please reach out to her and ask her for some advice as well.
And as soon as you're done, I think that's great. She's absolutely terrific. And as soon as you're done with that, please support our checking in sponsor, Cintas, and my no vacancy sponsors, Red Roof, a great hospitality hotel brand, got great cash flow for hoteliers, and Almo Hospitality, which will help you with FF&E distribution, all sorts of products and services that you need for your hotels. Thank you for taking care of us in the time when we are trying to take care of our community. So please support them as we try to support you. Guys, we love you. We care for you. We want us all to be together. Anthony, why don't you finish it up?
And exactly right. Like I now can say I'm working with Porcelanosa as well. I'm working with Cintas. So please reach out. Anything we can do for you, we will do. This is trying times, but we will get through this. We get through everything as a country. But you know, now is the time for leaders to step up.
Right. And be sure to check out our hospitality design podcast, which is sponsored by Porcelanosa. Thanks for bringing that up, Andy Pennington. We love you out there. And also my hotel tech podcast, which I do with SHR. So thanks all for being here today. And we will be back probably tomorrow, probably the day after that. So hope you don't get tired of us, because we're going to be around for a while helping you see our way through this COVID-19 epidemic. See you guys soon. Pandemic or whatever it is. See you guys later. Be good. Stay safe and take care of each other.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man.